Hey, and welcome to Coats ADU. My name's Faith, and today I'm going to show you how the skills teachers use every day in the classroom can translate directly into training adults. Teachers are already instructional designers, they just don't always get credit for it. To show you, I built the same class twice, one for K-12 learners in Google Classroom and one for corporate learners in Canvas. The goal? To show how the same design skills teachers use every day translate perfectly into the world of corporate training. I was looking for an example course topic that's relevant to both young learners and adults, so I chose the topic of phishing scams. This is near and dear to my heart after working in IT. In both versions of the class, learners move through short lessons, identify suspicious emails, and complete a quick quiz to test what they've learned. In Google Classroom, I approached it like a teacher. I organized the learning path into topics: introduction, examples, and final reflection. So they started off learning about what phishing is, they got into more details of it, and then they practiced what they had learned. I used a mix of materials and assignments, including a Google form quiz for self-check and a collaborative document where learners could post examples of suspicious messages and talk about why they think people fall for them. The flow is simple, clear, guided by feedback from the teacher. This is exactly how teachers scaffold their learning every day. If I were to teach this class to my students, I would check on their work daily, monitor their class discussions, and guide their thought process. In Classroom, I focused on scaffolding, starting with very basic recognition of phishing flags, and then moving up to evaluating and creating their own examples. When I designed this Google Classroom course, I focused on Bloom's Taxonomy to guide how learners would build their understanding step by step. Most teachers are introduced to this theory in their first semester of college. What's interesting is that Bloom's works for both kids and adults, but the way that we apply it changes. With students, the focus is often on building that foundational knowledge first, remembering, understanding, and then applying what they've learned in very simple ways. We want to help them develop those critical thinking muscles gradually. But with adults, we can start higher up on the pyramid. They already bring experience and context, so instead of memorizing facts, they're analyzing real-world scenarios and creating solutions right away. In both cases, Bloom's gives us a roadmap. The difference is just where our learners enter this journey. So in this course, our learners start at the very bottom because I would not expect children to know anything about this topic. Next, I rebuilt the same course in Canvas, but this time through a corporate lens. Canvas has features that mimic what you'd find in a corporate LMS: automated progression, modular prerequisites before moving on, and more robust analytics. They started off with that same base understanding of phishing, but before they could move on to real-world examples, there was a prerequisite of them finishing that other one first. Here, learners can't move on until they complete those key tasks. Just like compliance or onboard training in a workplace, the content's the same, but the experience is more structured and they can work on a larger scale with many learners. I could have hundreds of people take this exact same class and they wouldn't interact with each other, so it wouldn't really matter. Versus Google Classroom is made for just a few learners that I can interact with one-on-one. I also adapted the tone. This has less classroom discussion, more self-directed exploration. In Canvas, I thought through the ADDIE model, starting with the analysis of my new audience and then redesigning delivery and evaluation methods to match a workplace learning environment. This theory is traditionally used on adult learners. Adults are different from students in that they bring prior knowledge, they need relevance, and they often prefer self-directed learning. That's why in the analyze phase, I focused on what employees already know and what skills they actually need for their job. Moving into the design stage, I structured the modules so learners can progress at their own pace, access those resources when they need them, and apply the content directly to realistic scenarios for them. This aligns with adult learning principles. Adults want to learn what's practical and immediately useful for them. They're not thinking about something that they're going to use 10 years down the road. During the develop stage, I made sure that the course is interactive but efficient, so adults aren't sitting through unnecessary steps and clicking through things just to keep them entertained, like we would with a kid. The implementation leveraged Canvas's automated progress tracking, giving learners control over their own learning while still ensuring some accountability that they're going through the steps in the right order. Lastly, in the evaluation stage, I focused on outcomes that matter to adults. Did they understand the concept? Can they use it in real situations? Unlike kids, adults often care more about the application than the completion. Using ADDIE here ensures that the course isn't just a self-paced version of the lesson that I created for kids. It's designed intentionally for adult learners, and it balances structure, relevance, and autonomy. Both platforms are great for supporting learning, but they reflect different priorities. In Google Classroom, setup is manual and flexible. Teachers guide the flow, they provide personalized feedback, and they add some direct instruction. This is ideal for guided learning, where the focus is on interaction and meeting the individual needs of all learners. In contrast, Canvas is made to be more automated. Feedback and progress tracking are built into the system, analytics are detailed, and it's designed for self-paced, compliance-focused learning at a larger scale for more people. But here's the key point. Underneath the platform differences, the instructional design is the same. Both approaches rely on clear learning outcomes, structured practice opportunities, and chances for reflection. It's the design principles, not the tools, that make the learning effective. Teachers are already using the core skills of instructional design, and they can easily translate that for adult learners. Lesson planning becomes learning path design, formative assessment becomes knowledge checks, classroom management becomes learner engagement strategies. What many teachers do intuitively lines up with Merrill's principles of instructions. For example, there's problem-centered learning. Lessons start with real-world scenarios, whether it's spotting a phishing email in school or in the workplace. Next, we need to activate our learners. Helping learners connect new material to what they already know is important in corporate training or in K-12 education, and it might mean drawing more on an employee's past learning experiences for adults than it does for kids. Then comes demonstration. Showing learners how to do something, identifying threats in an email is really no different than modeling a math problem for students. After that is application, giving learners a chance to practice on their own, whether it's through a Google form quiz or a Canvas scenario. This is just going to look a little bit less guided with adults. And finally, integration. Encouraging learners to reflect on or share what they've learned so it becomes a part of their daily habits. When you understand these core ways that people learn, the platform really is just a tool. Whether it's Google Classroom or Canvas, these principles stay the same. They're what make meaningful, engaging learning that's effective no matter the age. If you're a teacher thinking about transitioning into instructional design, start by reimagining one of your own lessons for adults. You already know how to teach, you're just designing for a different audience. Which platform do you think handles learning paths better, Google Classroom or Canvas? Let me know in the comments. And if you would like to take a course on phishing scams that I designed in Articulate Rise, click on the link below to subscribe for my newsletter, and you can access the course for free at kutzerEDU.com.